So Lynn Carlisle isn't gonna be here.
No, Lynn and Sue are, yeah, could be absent. And Lori. Hopefully Steve shows up. You hear about Lori's cat? The Leon case, postponed because it's not down or something. One more time, we're gonna take it without it.
And anything affirmative tonight has to be by 3 votes, correct?
Well, I just asked Kevin that, and he ran it by our lawyer and said, no, but I think I've read that, I've heard that in my.
I think we need 3 votes.
That's what I've been trained on, so.
And the marina needs a supermajority.
Right, which we don't have, so. Hello,
How are you?
This is trouble.
Yes.
why don't you sit in the back row?
Good trouble. Here's about Lori, right?
Oh, yeah,
That's sad.
yeah.
Well, what an awful thing to happen. You know, I mean. Oh, you got the zoning board stuff back up. Remember there you made that?
Yep. Yep, we do. There he is.
And the bridge have even warmer.
I started looking for a phone. Glad you're here, Steve. You have your house back then?
Almost.
Almost, okay. So I know what the almost,
He's there
I
until.
know what the almost is.
Wednesday.
Okay. I thought the other day. Couple more minutes and we'll get started. Kevin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
That's a key question though about the 3 votes.
Hey, Kevin,
Go ahead.
the Mark is of the same opinion that I am, the 3 versus the simple majority.
Okay. I mean, I'm just going off what the attorney said because I called him on the way home, but hold on.
We have a quorum, we're good. We are good.
Do you remember if you had that girl?
The question.
Yeah, her parents owned my house when they grew up here.
I remember the name, but it's.
I see.
I talked to her this afternoon.
Hmm.
She's secretary
Part
of
of
the
the other ones. Well, if we had 2 ones.
secretary.
2. Oh. Okay.
You know the name.
You know
I know the face.
Really nice. Her both her
being that you're all lawyerly?
I don't think I have the right chapters
Okay,
for all of
They
that.
inherited them from their parents at various times.
So I would-
Yes, or whatever.
pretty spot.
So you'd have to have 3 votes, but the lawyer is saying that it might be 2-1.
No, it's so here's what I find under this is city law. Villages and cities have different things. So let me find the village section. I can read you what the city says and just remember this so I don't lose it. It wants from for a board of appeals, regardless of vacancies or absences, it's majority vote of all members of the board. That's under city law. Let me find it under village law.
Right. Home rule in the village law is different, Kevin.
Village law. There we go. So under village law, voting requirements number 13. Where an action is subject to referral to the county planning section. Oh, yeah, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's the same thing under village law. So I would go with a 3 or a 3 vote, and then I'll show this to Matthew tomorrow and make sure we made the right decision. If that's what the board feels comfortable with.
3 out of 3.
3 out of 3.
Okay. I'll look it up because I've got it somewhere in my training data too, so.
Yeah, like I said, I contacted him and that was his, initial gut reaction is it's just majority of the board available, but reading this under
I mean, that's how I,
Right, yeah, he found it right here too.
Yeah, 3 out of 3, 3 out of 5.
yeah, a majority.
Yeah, the
to
caucus to
overrule
order,
the-
yeah.
Majority of the
It's-
5 on the board.
it's 7-712A Board of Appeals procedure under village law for anyone that wants to look that up. I'm not a lawyer, I don't claim to be, so we'll have to ask Matthew again.
I got my lawyer looking at it right now.
So it's 7-712A
We have to-
Board of Appeals procedure.
Is it- No?
Okay, just come back. Have us look at it.
Right, you're looking in the zoning code, it's in the home rule section of New York State.
What do you think, Steve? Okay, we'll get started in just a minute, folks. All right, we're going to get started. I'm Tom Johns. I'm the chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the village. With us today, we have Steve Martin and our secretary Linda, and our CEO is on the Zoom call with us for any questions, Kevin Gershel. We've got a busy night here, so we'll get started, but they've all been advertised as needed in papers and posted on bulletin boards. For some of you maybe that haven't been here before, basically what we're doing tonight is these proposals, most of them basically you can't live with the rules that the village has posted. And hopefully you're going to tell us about your hardship and why you think the village zoning board of appeals should bend the rules and allow you to do what you want to do. So that's really what it's all about. We've got 3 people here tonight on the board, so we do have a quorum. Normally we have 5, but we've got an illness and a couple things going on. We do have one case that's postponed tonight, and that is the Leon case. Is postponed until the next meeting. So if you're here specifically for that, you can
Did you postpone that time?
either stay or leave. So it's up to you. So we'll get started, and the way this works, we'll call your case, we'll read it. You either present here or on the Zoom call can at that point tell us what you want to do. what your hardship is or why you can't live with the current zoning laws the way they are. At that point, we'll open it to public discussion, either people present or people on the Zoom call can either tell us their story, affirm or deny what they think's going on. At that point, we'll close it to public discussion and the board will discuss it amongst ourselves and hopefully come up with a decision. So that's the way we'll start. The first one on my pile of paper here is it's 7502 South Fitzhugh. And this one is a special permit. Special permit's a little bit different than a variance. Special permit goes with the property. And this is a special permit under section 190-23 to consider public parking in front of the property to be credited towards the parking requirements. And that has to do with any business establishment in the village. You need to have some proof of parking before we'll go forward. So who's here to talk about that case? The applicant. See.
Daniel Pope.
Daniel Pope, okay.
Yeah. Hi. Representing the client here, and I'm the architect, and I can brief you a little bit about the development here, and then we can talk about what our request is and hardship. But basically, we'd like to put in 4 or 5 suites for a bed and breakfast in the upstairs of the church, and then downstairs we've got a laundry area that we'd like to have the public be able to use. There's a demand for it. And so we've come up with a layout, and I've submitted the layout of the plan of the church for these small suites to go in, and the other plan for the basement laundry is there as well. So based on the zoning and the requirements for the parking in a B&B, and also I wanted to point out there's a right of way behind the building for sanitary. I believe it's 15 feet wide. And then there's also electric meters on a concrete pad with a large tree between the right of way. And we had thought about possibly overflow parking down in that green space, but with that right of way there, that niched our ideas. So we went back to the idea of getting the parking along Bay Street. And based on our requirements, I have a typo on my parking requirements. I'll point that out. There's actually 5 suites, so we need 5 parking stalls that are 10 by 20. And then with the laundry, they request 1 per 200 square feet of laundry, so that would give us 4 with a total of 9. And we have a total of 9, and then a handicap stall as well. So we do meet that criteria along that right of way or state property. And years past, they've always used this for church parking, and it used to get loaded up all the way down almost to the fire hall on the side of the street. And that right of way also used to be the old trolley bed that came through Sodas Point way back in the day. And it's always been there. So it has been kind of a buffer between the curb of Bay Street, if you will, and the property, our property. So what we're requesting is to simply use parking areas along that Bay Street as we've noted on our drawings. And basically, we don't have any place to put parking otherwise, so that's a real hardship. We'd have to get into probably working with the right-of-way and electric meters that are out there, or the pads. And I think that's going to be a real problem in the future to try to get a curb cut or access to that right now at this point. So that's kind of the project in a nutshell. If you have any questions, just feel free to shoot them.
Okay, just I guess general information for the board. That land is currently owned by the state. The state would like to give us that property, give the village that property. The state at this point, or I should say the village at this point wants it to be rehabbed before it's given to us. But basically that would, at this point, be like any other public parking downtown. I mean, it would be a village property, and we've had a couple of other asks for people to be able to park on public property and count against their business. So that's what this is all about. I did ask Kevin about the handicap zone today, and either the state or the village, depending on how it would happen, would designate that. How many we need, how large, so that would be taken care of if this goes through. So that's kind of where we stand. He's asking to use public village parking for his facility. So at this point, we'll open it to public comment. If there's anybody, we'll start in the room first. Any comments in the room? Yes, sir. Oh, okay, first go.
My name is Bob Darby, we're 8342 Bay Street,
So you'd be the next door neighbor to the,
between here and the church.
right, yep.
I'd like to know what the village would benefit by this. What it would be losing is what has been used for public parking during any kind of events that are held by the village. There's parades, there's the 4th of July. Our village is really suffering from parking as it is, public parking. And by giving this to an individual for their own business use, what's the village getting for it? There's nothing. We're losing, we're not gaining. I think all the boards of the village, whether it be planning boards or the board, village board, all need to think about the future of the special village.
Okay. Bob, let me just, as I understand it, we're not giving it to them. It's still public parking. So let's say there's a parade and somebody gets in there to park, they can park there. There's going to be no designated parking. It's not like you're in suite 2 and you get this parking spot. It'll be wide open parking. Obviously, there's more than 9 spaces that are available.
Well, that's a question. How many spaces are there? How many is there?
Well, I don't have the actual number, but obviously there's more than that. So it won't be designated parking. It's still open public parking. It's like in front of Jack's. If you park in front of Jack's and you want to go to the 650, you can do that. It's still village parking. Basically what they're just asking permission to use that for their clientele.
All right, I guess that's my point.
Okay.
I just feel that it's space that the neighborhood uses also. People across the street, when they have a party, they have very limited access for parking on their own property, and they use that across the street. But after the party, they go to his home. Now you're going to have people that are living in the bed and breakfast that they're, if it's rented out consistently, there's going to be that many less places consistently for parking.
I understand your point.
Also, access to, if he's going to have a bed and breakfast, it's going to be, people are going to be able to eat there, cook within the units, and have garbage, so he's going to need access to, however, if he has a dumpster, I don't know if he's going to use dumpsters or totes, but he's going to need access to be able to get some kind of truck in there, dumpster in and out. Or is he going to use the parking spaces for dumpster?
I doubt it'll be the parking spaces. We don't allow anybody to use village parking for dumpsters, so.
Well, I hope not, because there's that sidewalk. And if the dumpster or totes or something, and the air that we're breathing walking by there, it's in summertime.
Yeah.
So there's that to be considered also, but I don't see anything in the plans for how it's going to be access to the dumpster in and out of there without going across the public sidewalk. Right now, even when there was the church, people come, they have their service, they leave. And again, I left the parking lot open to the public, except for Sunday mornings. It just doesn't add up. How do you keep people from parking on the sidewalk? If you've got cars coming in and out of there, how do you keep people driving and parking on the sidewalk over the length of property? And that, what's not.
Well, I'm gonna make an assumption here. Basically, the village will do it the way they've done it down by the ballpark. They'll have bumper stops so people can't pull into the sidewalk. I mean, that's kind of,
That would be great.
what we've
That would be
done.
great whether he does what he wants to do or not. That would be great.
okay.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Anyone else in the room?
Yeah, I agree, you know, you need, Matt. Property. So this church has been using this parking lot for a very long time. I'm the one that talked to the state, and having the state talk to you guys and sell you that piece of land. The state would help me get the piece of land, but it would take me a very long time, and I don't want to go through the process, and I don't want to spend the money. The town is better off with it for themselves. And I just want use of a couple of spaces. And spaces for people that are coming into this town to spend money in this town. So that's how it benefits. So, and for me to put a parking lot in, I could put one next to your house, but you won't like it. Because I have that whole bottom piece, that could be a parking lot too, and the town they have to be access. So I don't want to go clearing trees, I don't want to cause any problems. I think the best thing is a couple of spaces and that's it, everybody uses that. And I'm the one that's been kicking people out of there that've been parking over the top of the sidewalk, because that's what they do. I mean, there's somebody who lives in town that parked their car and went away on vacation for 2 weeks. And I called them, said to the town, hey, can I get a tow truck to pull that, move it out of the way? Because people can't walk through there. So, you know, I keep my stuff clean, I keep my areas clean, but people can walk in and out of it. And obviously there's construction going on now, but yeah, it will benefit the town. I live here, I want it to be nice here, so. And parking, like you said, Jack's, Bay Street, or Jack's, Hots Point, they don't have their own parking. Friends are everybody that fishes parks over by Hots Point, so they use that property too, so. I don't mind any different business in town. That's it.
Okay. Yes, Maxine?
I would just like to ask the board one thing, and that is if you look at this, because I think he has a valid point that he does need parking for his business, and his business does bring in revenue into the village, that you make a condition that that is not going to be, there won't be signage there the way Mr. Rome has it, that designates that parking just for, the bed and breakfast. So that it is truly public parking. You can advertise that there's parking available, but I'd like you to have to make a condition that there isn't signage that says this is the designated 8 spots for this business. So
My understanding, the only signage will be for the handicap parking spot.
Great, so you can put that condition in there because, you know, things, you know, how things go. Sometimes if it's not in the motion, then sometimes people do what they want to do.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
that's all I want to say. I
thank you for
support
your
that.
comment. Anybody else in the, Kathy? Okay,
I just wanna say I support Matt, because, every business that comes in, we always say to them, where's your parking, where's your parking, where's your parking? And that stops businesses from coming in, we have a lot of parking, we really, I think we do. It's just a matter of timing and things like that. There's parking all up and down the street, and now, so say a new business comes in, we say no, because where's your parking? I don't think it's. They wanna spend money here, they wanna build it up, they wanna make new business for us. But because there's no parking, it's usually shut down, so that's what I have to say.
okay, thank you. Yeah, Matt,
I have one more thing to add. It's not a bed and breakfast. We're not cooking there or anything. It's an Airbnb. It doesn't have the ability to have, like, there's no major cooking going on. They're not gonna have kitchens. So that's not, it's not a long-term rental, they're only short-term.
okay, thank you. Then we'll open it to comment. Anyone on Zoom care to comment about this proposal? Dan Pope, are you getting more comments?
No, I don't believe so at this point.
All right. Okay, I guess with no more comments, then we'll close it to public comment and discuss it amongst ourselves. Like I say, this state property now, they want to give it to the village, the village wants it, properly blacktopped. I guess the snow plows and some things kind of tore it up, but I think that's the long-term issue, is village property. My understanding from talking to Kevin, it is open parking, just like downtown, so other than the designation of handicap parking, it will be free for all for the rest of them. I can't tell you how many there's gonna be there. He's got 9 spaces designated, but there's more parking than that. If the parking lot's completely done. I know the neighbors use it, you know, we frequently all see that when we go by. Comments, Mark?
Yes. How many parking spots do you think you need?
What Dan has allowed us to have, I mean, we rarely have people with more than 2 cars, and I mean, that's rare that people have more than 1 car. And where I am now, I do that where, hey, listen, you know, we recommend you don't bring more than 2, 3. If they bring 2, 3 cars, a boat, a trailer and stuff like that, go elsewhere. Go park that boat, park that trailer somewhere else. Because we don't have room for it down in town. So I'm pretty good with the parking on people. I always have everything on my camera so I can see somebody parked wrong, I can contact them. I mean, I have people parking my spots sometimes and I have to go to Jack's and go pull them out of there and say, hey, listen, it's not public parking, so in my spots. You have a ton of spots up there. I mean, we're not even taking up I would say less than probably a fifth of that parking. There's a lot, there's 100 and something feet of parking there. It's a lot of parking. Dan, do you know how many feet are on that?
Well, your property's 247. I don't like to get it too close to the curb, the intersection, so that's why I held back from there and I wanted the handicap next to our ramp. We could probably sneak a couple more spaces towards the corner. And then we can go all the way down towards that electric panel. You'd probably be getting at least double, 10 more just in that line. And then when the sidewalk breaks and gets narrower on that right of way, you might have more parking available there that could be parallel to the road. Then that runs all the way down towards the fire hall. That wide space there, but you know, that narrows. So, you know, with 250 feet, you can get 200. That's 20 cars right there, easy, and stay off that corner. Yeah.
So you have 5 units, right?
Yeah.
5 units, 2 cars,
5 spots, realistically.
but they come in 2 cars, so that's 10 spots.
That's 10 tops.
And it's Monday, so it's laundry day.
Yeah.
So 15, 16, 17 spots taken?
That would be amazing, but not.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd be great, but no. But during the day, you gotta remember, those are renters that are out of there by 11 o'clock. They have left there. Mondays, we you know, rentals is only maybe 20 to 10.
I just meant Monday is,
Yeah,
Then
but
the
Monday
laundry.
would be the busiest day for, say, the laundry area, so then, you know, Saturdays, Friday, Saturday would be busy time.
I don't quite understand the state to village. Can we give permission now for the state?
You're not you're not giving him anything. Like you're not able to give him the land or anything like that. That would come from the state or the village board. All you're doing is saying you're okay, if you're okay with it, you're okay with crediting his parking satisfied, however many spaces you want to say are satisfied from the public area. We can't,
Special permit, not a
Okay.
variance.
yeah, special permit. We're just giving him a special permit to say when Kevin does the site plan, calculate X number of spaces for public parking, not because it says in the book that it has to be on a buildable portion of land, but we're asking he's asking for the spaces to be credited in the public area.
Okay, so then, since it's a special permit, we can yank that after a year if we have parking across the sidewalk, right? Tom,
Yeah, special
And-
permits can be reviewed.
if we put in here that we don't want signage other than handicap signage, if all of a sudden the signs, very friendly, don't park here, we'll shoot you signs, start appearing, then the permit can be yanked. Right,
Any other questions? Steve, you? No. Somebody want to make a proposal?
yes. What am I doing, Kevin?
What we're gonna do is it's for a special permit to allow, want me to make it?
Yes,
Okay. This is a special permit to allow, at 7502 Fitzhugh, to allow the occupants to use public parking. We're going to credit public parking for their special permit to open their bed and breakfast there. It'll be completely public parking. The only designated parking spot will be for handicapped person, whether we need one or two. Kevin will determine that based on the size of the parking lot. It's a special permit.
and can we put right in there, that's the only signage, the handicap?
So that's how many spaces?
Well, right now, they're asking to be credited with 9. We don't know how many, the total parking lot will end up with. Yeah, Matt?
If it's public parking and say there's a party across the street for somebody that's not a relation to me and they fill that whole parking lot and the people that are staying with me have to find somewhere else. It's pretty simple. I mean, that's what happens down at Hots Point. If you go to Hots Point and you want to park in front and you don't have a parking spot, you park somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's plenty of parking.
As long as you understand that, we're all happy. You with that, Linda?
Yeah, I'm fine. I
Linda?
just don't like when people do park over the thing. That's the problem, because it looks like it's me that's doing it.
Yeah.
So I get blamed for it. Anything that happens to property is gonna be me.
Now, where's the snow plows in the town? That's right.
They used to turn around in the village hall right here. So that's what they used to do. I guess, but what I would do is I put a message in there to put all the cars at the bottom of the lot in the winter. And that, not putting signage up, but I just tell people, try to park as close in the winter time when it's gonna snow, park at the end. This way, they can still plow snow. And I'll take care of the rest of that.
Linda, you clear on our proposal?
TJ, are you going to the motion or are you guys done with your motion?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
what I've
making the motion,
What I've
Kevin.
written, Chair Johns made the motion to accept the special permit to allow 7502 South Fitzhugh to utilize the public parking spaces for use by bed and breakfast users to a total of 9 spaces.
All right. And we want to put in there that there'll be no designated parking spots,
Other than handicap.
There will be no designated, okay.
right, other than the handicap spot. Okay, made the motion. Somebody want to second that?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, Matt and Dan.
Real quick, TJ, just to
Yeah.
clarify too, the public parking here at the village hall and the fire hall, that's also within 300 feet. So if there is overflow, I don't know if I just didn't want to interrupt your motion. So that's another part of the accreditation. Like he has 2 parking public areas within 300 feet of him.
Okay, good to know. All right. The next file I have here.
That was fun.
Okay, the next one is an application by Ryan Crowley at 8526 Greg Street. And he would like to install a 5 by 58-foot permanent dock with 2 permanent boat lifts.
Prior to him speaking, this is where the planning board asked the zoning board to review the definition of dock and then look at the picture of the dock in front of the boathouse. Planning asked for the zoning board just to interpret. I define that as a dock by the definition of chapter 86.
Yeah, I looked this up, Kevin, and I'll read the dock definition, all right? Everybody understand what we're doing? Because it is a short dock, at least the one in the picture. They've asked us to clarify the definition. Right now, in our book, it says, under dock, the dock law says, any dock, wharf, structure, or fixed platform extending out over the water built on floats, columns, open timbers, piles, or similar open work supports. That's a dock. Then, Kevin, if I go back a little bit further to 8619, it says all docks and piers in any waters bounding the village within the distance of 1,500 feet from the shoreline shall have an unobstructed width of at least 2.5 feet, but not greater than 8 feet. The Board of Appeals may, by special permit, authorize a dock or a pier of a width greater than 8 feet. Kathy still here? That, I guess that definition seems pretty clear to me. I know this. I guess my question is, do we need more clarification, Kevin?
That's up to you guys. If you feel comfortable that it's a dock, then you can move forward with discussing the application and talk about the other issues that are with that one, if you feel comfortable with it. If you don't, then we would have to talk about it as the second dock proposal. So it's up to you how you want to, like what you want to.
Kevin and I went down and looked at this one specifically, and I guess the question here is, you see this little stub, I know it's 5 feet long, whatever it is. The question is that a dock, a pre-existing non-conforming dock or not? My contention is, or my interpretation is that in this case, that is just the end of the dock that goes into the boathouse, because the boathouse has water in it, and the dock in that case goes to the bow of the boat, or however far in there it goes. There is a door there. We don't have many boathouses of this magnitude on the bay. So I think that's the question, is that protruding stuff, dock, in and of its own, or is it part of the dock that's coming out of the boathouse?
If it helps, there's a concrete pier at the end. The dock that's inside the boathouse is separate. That stub comes off the end, has its own driven post, and it is 4.5 feet wide by just shy of 7 feet. It is separate of the dock that's inside.
Okay, I guess we're gonna get to you in just a minute.
Okay, yeah, that's about.
We have a definition issue right now.
Sure.
Do we think that any dock, wharf, structure, or fixed platform extending out over the water built on floats, columns, open timbers, piles, or similar open work supports is a clear enough definition of a dock? We don't put a length on it. We do put a width on it. We do restrict the length.
I thought it was a dock.
Okay, well, you like our definition of a dock? We'll get to that.
It's a very nice definition.
Kathy, do you have any input on the question in the definition of the dock?
I did not have any, I mean, I agree with what Mark was saying, I believe that was a definition of a dock. It just doesn't say, you know, it says on pillars, on this, on that, and it's a dock in the water. But some people on the planning had, you know, it's that gray area,
Yeah,
so. So we put the pressure
I mean,
on-
about the only other thing I would think is we had a definition saying that capable of mooring or tying a boat up, but I guess you can have a dock and to swim off, so you don't need a boat to moor. I don't know whether that restricts it more or defines it more.
Well, to me, if it didn't have the boathouse, it'd be a harder discussion, because then it would be almost a diving platform. But it is a dock, and you can tie a boat to it once it's in the boathouse.
Kevin, what's your feeling? You're the one that used to run around and permit all these docks before we stopped doing that.
Yeah, my decision was it was a dock by the definition. By definition, I felt it was a dock. It was something built on piles out over the water. It was over the 2.5 feet in size for width. We don't have a minimum, so I felt it was a dock. So it was the secondary dock for the property. That was my interpretation of it.
Okay, and you feel comfortable with the definition the way it is now?
I do. Yeah, I felt pretty strong on that definition. If we want to clarify, that can be one of our changes to the LWRP. You know, anything under a certain size or scope or whatever you guys want to do. But I don't want to force you one way or the other. If you feel differently, feel free to.
Well, that would be my only concern about this one is because it appears short. Even though it isn't, it's part of a longer dock, but if somebody was to throw a stub off their break wall, would that be a dock or wouldn't it, you know?
In the future,
Yeah,
well, would they have to get,
yeah, but you know, we don't always see what everyone does. Okay, I think for today, we have a motion to accept our definition of a dock as spelled out in 86.6 and 86.19.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, now, we've determined you had a dock.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. Now, the question is, and I'll read this again. In this case, you'd like to install a 5-foot wide dock off this stub. Okay, I hate to use that word. After this pre-existing dock, you'd like to extend it 5 foot wide by 58 feet long and add 2 permanent boat lifts. So go ahead, tell us what you'd like to do and why you can't live with it the way it is now.
I'd like to install just that, so then that would help us get into the boathouse easier too. As you said, that small dock is very short, so when you pull a 20-foot boat in there, it makes it difficult to grab something prior to pumping into it. And then also I'd like to have my boats over there, and then I could keep everything would be under lock and key. They would have to either come from the water, we would be able to walk right out to our dock. Get a lot of people that come in from Jack's parking lot thinking that it's a commercial place. So you get a lot of people walking around. I just soon have it all. I go through the boathouse, get the boat out and such, and then we would have room for our friends that pop over, or people that come to the board beforehand. So it would make it safer to get in and out of the boathouse, and it would give me a little bit of security.
Okay. Before we open it to public comment, I will, this has to do with 8623. And that says that you should have no more than 1 dock or pier for each residentially zoned littoral parcel of less than 75 feet. It does talk about T-shapes and things like that. So at this point, with one existing dock and one shorter dock, around boathouse, it is a pre-existing, non-conforming condition to the current rules. So everybody understand that? Okay. All right, then we'll open it to public comment. Anybody here like to discuss Ryan's proposal for a dock? Okay, nobody in the room. How about on Zoom? Would anybody like to comment on this? This is a variance to the dock law. Last call for Zoom.
I also do have a blessing from all my neighbors, the text messages, except for Bob Strobing, which he gave me a verbal. But I even have behind me and two over the other way.
Okay, you can hand those to us. We'll put those on record. Okay, there being no public comment, we'll close public comment. We'll discuss it amongst ourselves. The only, I guess I should say not only, but the big issue with this one to me is that the if we're going to count the pre-existing dock as a dock, then going 58 feet out from the boathouse to me is too far. We allow people to go 60 feet with a dock without coming back for a special use permit. So if we're going to count the dock length in the boathouse, then the 58 feet would start in the boathouse as opposed to in front of the boathouse. Are you guys with me on that? Okay. To go and to get, that cuts your dock short, Ryan, from what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, you can come back and ask for more, but what I'm saying is without, you know, if it's a dock, where the dock starts and where the dock ends is really what we're.
Are you talking just shy of 7 foot stuff?
No, I would, if we're gonna say that's a pre-existing non-conforming dock, it starts, there's water in the boathouse.
There is.
So it starts where the boathouse begins, or wherever your bow touches the front. And as your dock runs out, if that's, I don't know what it is, let's say it's 25 feet, and you got a 7 foot stub on there, you're at what, 32 feet? And to get you to 60 feet without coming back to us and asking for an extension, that doesn't get you 58 feet from the edge of the boathouse out. You follow me?
I do, yeah, I'm hoping that dock starts at that concrete pier and not inside the boathouse. Would it be, I believe in here someplace it says, starts at the shoreline, which.
Well, you have water inside the boathouse.
Well, not where that pier is. Would that be?
You have to have water in there to float the boat.
Oh, absolutely, no, I'm not discounting that at all, I just, the house goes out in the deed. In the survey, it shows the house coming out, I don't know where you would say the shoreline starts. Versus. Cause that's gonna take away, you know, that's gonna make it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, if we decide that, you can expand on your second dock.
Yeah,
Okay, even though you don't have enough footage for it, it's a pre-existing non-conforming dock.
sure,
And you've asked for 58 feet here. To us, if that is an existing dock, it starts somewhere in the boathouse. 20-25 feet, then you're 7 feet outside.
Yeah.
You would take that off, you would take that off to 58 feet. Now, it doesn't stop you from coming back and asking for an extension to get it out to where it's even for your other dock.
sure,
But I can't use the term I want to use, but if, you know, it's one way or the other. If the dock, if we're counting it as a pre-existing non-conforming dock,
Yep.
then it
Well,
starts
that's right,
one
inside the whole
spot
house.
and goes so far.
so in that survey, it does say 16 feet there, I don't know if you wanna take that wall with. 15.9 on the one side and 16 foot on the other. I mean, I didn't personally measure that.
Yeah.
But it does show that boathouse defined there like that.
Well, if we vote to allow you to do the 58 feet, then, between you and Kevin, we'll figure out what to start.
Yep.
Okay,
So just, you'd want to clarify that I measure from the beginning of the boathouse, not the pylon and at the front door. So the shoreline, like you're saying, what would be assumed the northernmost point of the boathouse is where you want me to measure from.
yeah.
Okay.
I watermark, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. I just want to be specific.
Yeah, no, I understand. Okay,
And then they can come back and ask for,
well, I can't tell him what to do, but I mean, if it's really important that he wants to go up further, then he can come back.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Any comments, public comments on this one?
Would you just have to come back to zoning?
No,
Yeah.
it'd be, so it's,
Planning too?
yeah, it's a whole new application because he's got to finish this one, which is the application that's been advertised through everybody. And depending on how this vote goes, and then a new application would be to go beyond 60 feet. And then beyond 60 feet up to 99 feet is a special permit, and that has to get reviewed by planning board and then zoning and then planning.
Right, because this is the variance right now we're talking about. Correct?
Yeah, taking a non-conforming use and allowing it to go more non-conforming.
Right. Have you heard that word non-conforming enough? All right, comments from you guys? No. Make a motion.
Make a motion to approve the application as submitted, with the measurement coming from the northernmost point of the boathouse.
water level.
Water level.
Northernmost water line, right, okay,
Second,
all right, anybody in favor say aye? Aye. Okay,
Thank you very much.
we got something, Ryan, I don't know if it's as much as you want.
Yeah, that's all right, that's all right. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Well, good night.
Okay, the next one is Ira Bristol, and this was at 7115 Central Avenue. And he would like to construct an 18-foot by 36 by 10-foot tall pole barn, 2 feet from the property line where 12.5 feet is required, and 2 feet from the rear property where 12.5 feet is required. Lot coverage is very small, so this has to do with 119 or 19011 and 19049. Ira, there you are. Okay, Bud.
Yep.
All right. Tell us what you want to do.
Okay, just basically, putting in a small pole barn to, put my boat in, 4-wheeler, snowmobile, lawnmower. Basically, get my garage full again, also get my toys out of the yard, be more aesthetically pleasing for the neighbors. The reason I'm looking for the variance to put it where I want to put it is to keep, I took the tree down, it's right next door to my neighbor, my son, for it, obviously, already talked with him, he said it's fine with where we end up putting it, what you gotta do. I wanna put it as far back as I can to match the corner of his pole barns and be as close as I can to where we don't have a big gap in space here, because neither one of us currently using that space. And certainly, once I put my pole barn out there, be able to strip land. Basically, the only thing I want going through there is a mower, or the deer that wants through there. The planning board had suggested 3 feet, stating something about, Tim Jones and the fire department wants something, they want something 3 foot. I'm fine with that. It's whatever they want to do there. I just want to be over from the 12 feet, because if I have to go 12.5 feet out from the line, it's part of the barn's gonna be shadowed behind my house at that point, and then putting it there doesn't make sense, because I won't be able to back on my boat, which is the main reason for the goal.
Okay. Just saying, the planning board talked about 3 feet, was that in both dimensions? I haven't seen
I haven't
anything in
used
there.
it. Now we have the 3 feet.
Yeah, 3 feet on both dimensions is what they had suggested or recommended.
Okay. We'll open it to public comment if there is any in the room. Okay, on Zoom, any comments about Bud's pole barn? Zoom's awful quiet for me. Okay, we'll close it to public comment in case, unless somebody pops in on Zoom.
So Kevin, the 3 feet is good with you?
It's up to you. I mean, under
Yeah, I meant
5
fire wise, fire
Oh,
wise.
under 5 feet, we've always reserved that it takes 1 hour separation because we never know how they're going to be converted in the future. So we just asked for something with a pole barn, usually out of metal. We can accept that, or like a 5/8 drywall. The overhangs are fine, penetrations are fine at 3 foot. So really, it's just that fire rated wall at 3 foot is kind of a pain in the butt because we never know how they're going to convert it in the future.
So that's a yes?
Yeah.
My only concern, Kevin, and I talked to Lynn today, we did make them come 5 feet off the property line. And I guess it's always our purpose to be consistent, especially in I would call this a large lot compared to a lot of the lots in the village. That would be my only concern, is that we're consistent. If we'd asked the neighbor to be 5 feet off the adjoining lot line, the 3 feet, I guess, doesn't bother me because it's a village property back there, I think, for the water tower. But if we've asked them a few years back to be 5 feet off, I think we need to be consistent, would be my concern.
Yes, I would say that I agree with that at first when I looked at how much land was there.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird back there.
It's very cut out.
So that, and also now that you say that Lynn's property is 5 feet away, we got 3, so they're 8 feet away as far as fire. And then it's gonna be back there and you got the water tower, so. I see where it might be setting a precedent, but there aren't many other properties that are gonna be like this.
Well,
You have a lot of tools.
I mean, if you go over the 5 reasons for a variance, you know, his backyard is a little chopped up. I agree with the angles of it, but basically, there's a lot of room back there. I mean, you could almost turn the building the other way, and still conform.
But then how do I back it in there and, you know, say,
I understand. I just have a hard time when we've asked somebody to do the next door neighbor, the neighboring barn, to be 5 feet off the line, and to say that the next person only needs to be 3 foot or 2 foot off. That's not the consistency we're trying to achieve here with some of our rulings.
Can you live with 5?
I think so. You know, I haven't laid it out at 5. Originally, when I laid it out, I laid it out right at what I believe to be the line. So when I went back and looked at it 3 feet, I'm like, okay, I can probably make this work. But now the way that it angles back 5 feet, I don't know what that's gonna do for the angle of getting around my house there to get to be.
Well, you've got 16 feet from the corner of your house to the lot.
Correct. From the corner of my house to there, but then with the angle of it, getting back there, you know, backing up a 24-foot pontoon boat, you're not real.
Was Lynn 5 feet off the back and the side?
I don't know about the back. I talked to him about the side.
Got it, okay.
I mean, I think it's village property.
Right.
I'm happy. I think the 3 feet off the back's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Got
it. you know, we say 2 to 3 to 5 feet, but we also have to be concerned about the E. You know, what are you gonna do with the water? Where's the water going? Those kind of things. So it's just not, two,
I understand.
1 or 2 feet makes us cringe.
I understand, because right
Okay.
now the water coming up Lynn Park washes onto my property.
Okay.
So I understand.
Well,
I
you can have them fix that
If 5
if
feet
you
is
need
what
to.
you need, then we're gonna make it work. That's the absolute, I'll make it work.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Want me to make this
You can
one?
make this one.
I'll propose it. Okay, the first proposal would be to accept Bud Bristol's drawing as presented. Okay, do I have a second on that? Someone has to second.
Oh, they do, oh, so we wrote it down, second.
Okay,
I was.
all right, everybody in favor of it as presented, say aye. Everybody against it, say nay.
Never.
Nay, okay. Now, what we would like to do is revise his proposal, Linda, so that the building is 5 feet off the property line against the Carlisle property and 3 feet off the line, off the village property in the rear.
Okay, so 5 feet off which, sorry,
Carlisle property,
Carlisle property.
that would be what? It was
The
the
southernmost-
east, the southern and south of you? Okay. And 3
And
feet,
3
3
feet.
feet off the village property in the back,
Okay,
right? Somebody want to second that?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, the next one we've got here is, the gentleman in the back, which one are you waiting for?
Silver Marine.
All right, we'll do that one next. You're nice enough to show up, we can show you some respect. John Maxim?
That's me.
All right,
Oh,
and this is Sodas Marina, and what he would like to do is add a 12,000 square foot storage building per the stamp plans. 10 feet from the side property where 25 feet is required. So go ahead and tell us what you want to do, John, and why you can't live with the 25-foot setback.
Well, I would like to have this storage barn as close to the property line as would allow. The 10 feet was the recommended distance, although it's still within the 25 foot of the total. Reason I want the building up to the right side is the closer that it is to the repair facility. There's 2 benefits. It allows the mechanic staff to be able to manipulate the boats better on the west side of the storage building. In front of the 3 existing barns. The other benefit is that the building shall help block the view of the storage yard currently and the abandoned boats that we're working on.
Okay.
And I think it should be noted that the property line east is also part of family. So we also need the property as well. So the only people that should have a negative impact by this would be us. We're okay.
Okay. Okay. No one left here for public comment other than Kathy, are you?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Public comment from Zoom. Anyone out there with a comment on this storage barn proposal? All right, if they pipe in, we'll let them in. This one's a little different in that we're asking him to be 25 feet back from his own property line. He owns both sides. But we run into this occasionally where our concern here would be one parcel gets sold and the other parcel doesn't get sold. So, and even though people tell us they'll never do that, it does happen. So that's really our concern with this one. Mark, what do you go look at it?
yes, after I found it. I couldn't see anything wrong with it in any way. It's a perfect place for a warehouse, what is it? Storage barn.
Yeah.
There's nothing, I didn't have any problem.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, I don't have.
I do a little bit, okay, there's, to me at least, there's plenty of room to push that back another 15 feet and not need a variance. So we're talking about a lot of property there. I did walk that, with a couple of your people today. And I guess my conclusion is you probably shouldn't be here. Other than to have it close 10 or 12 feet closer to the building. I mean, there's, I don't know, 100 feet or more at the back of that building on the same line. And it does the same thing as far as blocking some of the boat storage, the view of the boat storage from the campground that's there. So I guess from my standpoint, I mean, everybody asks for whatever they can get from us, but I look at that and I say, gee, this building, if we go back 15 more feet, it wouldn't need to be.
Which way is back?
It would be this way, on that same line. They want to keep this road, is my understanding. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but from my discussions with a couple of employees, they want to keep this road intact. So to me, you know, another 15 feet back here is almost nothing. And when this building is how long? 200 feet. So.
Can you do that?
So
That's my
your
concern.
main reason is, so won't obstruct the view?
No, it's gonna, they want it to obstruct the view of the abandoned boats, if I say that correctly. That's part of the reason it's explained to me. But my concern is there's so much room here, we don't need a variance. And if you look at number 5 on our board here, it basically says whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. And what I'm saying here is they're asking for it to be closer when they really don't need a variance. It's my concern.
It would be advantageous for operations to have that additional space on the west side, because the equipment they use to transport boats to the water, they use a good sized tractor and then hydraulic trailers, which are considerable length. And some of the boats that they're hauling are over 40 feet length. So although it would be possible to get by with the building being shifted to the west, I see benefit, which is why I'm here for the exception.
Okay. Well, it's
I don't want to throw a wrench in this.
go ahead.
But I think
You have the county's letter of determination from the county planning board. I believe they turned down both the variance and the site plan. So it would take a supermajority for you guys to approve anything. And given what you talked about at the beginning of the meeting with majorities and whatnot, I don't know that you have a supermajority present of your full board. So if you did want to consider the application as submitted, I don't know that.
4 out of 5 votes, and we don't have 4 people.
Yeah.
But if you moved it 15 feet, is that what we were saying?
Right.
15 feet west, then you wouldn't have to get the variance,
Let's go see Kevin for a permit.
Planning board, then,
Planning.
planning board.
including the county. Does that take care of the county problems?
There's no more variance. They'd still need supermajority from the planning board because the site plan got denied too. But that could be, I'm not sure. The comments in the site plan was they didn't understand why it was put where it was put. So if they moved it to where Tom is suggesting, then it might suffice for the comments.
You understand what we're saying, Joe? We're due to the absence of a couple of board members, we're unable to do a supermajority tonight to approve this. Because the county has turned it down for, I think, basically the same reason, saying that you have a lot of property there, there's no need for a variance. So based on the fact that we cannot override the county at this point, we can on certain things, but it takes a supermajority. So basically, we're gonna have to turn this down tonight. That doesn't mean that you can't reapply or go back to the county with a different proposal. But the variance that you're asking for, we can't do it. All right,
If we move it 25 days off the property line,
right.
We get a preliminary approval.
Well, you wouldn't even need to come to us. You would go to Kevin, give him your new plans, you'd run it through planning for just a site approval. Would the county still need to see it, Kevin?
No, because what we would do, it would be a local, so we would just make it like it's an amendment to this application. So I mean, you make a motion right now on his application, and then when we get to planning for final, planning would discuss it at planning at final, the changes. And they could make a determination however they want. Either they can just turn it down and tell them to restart, or they could make the action at planning to accept the 25 feet right there for final.
Meaning there's no variance. Okay, from us. So planning approved it, then you wouldn't come back. All right. Do we need to vote on this, Kevin?
Yeah, you need to vote on the application as submitted so that he has an answer, or whatever, either table it, vote to approve it, do something with it.
Okay, let's vote to table it. Okay, somebody give me a motion.
Motion to table.
Okay, second, everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
So if you
Right.
vote to table it now that you did that, I can't send it to planning.
Yeah,
uh-oh,
right.
Motion.
So
to consider.
if you want a motion to reopen it, and then, sorry, I just meant you had to do something.
we did it too quickly, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion to reopen. Is that how you word it?
I'll make a motion.
Sorry.
Okay, everybody in favor to reopen this? Say aye. Okay. All right,
Something's not making
all the
sense to me
technicalities
about-
are taken care of.
All right, so now make a motion to accept the application as submitted, is what I'm saying, unless you want this to come back to be heard for the 10-foot. Do you want to be heard for the 10-foot under this, or do you want it to go forward to
No, if
planning?
there's no variance needed, we don't want to see it.
Okay, so either you can just leave it and just be done with it, or you guys can make a motion so you're formally saying you're denying the or whatever you're doing. Just if you want to make a motion to make it formal, you can make a motion, or you can do nothing and just
Okay,
walk away.
We're just gonna deny it and let him proceed with you,
Okay.
all right? Have a motion to
I
deny.
move to deny.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Steve, you want to second this?
Sure. Yeah,
All right, everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Sorry, John,
All right.
it got complicated.
So show up to planning on Monday. You're scheduled for planning on Monday, and we'll do the site plan review. And that's where you'll talk about if you want to move it to the 25 feet with no variance required.
Okay, all right, got it. All right, thank you. Makes sense. Good luck. Okay, the last one for tonight is Leo Facelli, am I pronouncing that correctly? At 8607 Greg Street. And he would like to put a fence for the plot drawing with 6-foot panels transitioning to a 4-foot porch. Leo, are you there? Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, why don't you tell us what you want to do and why you need a fence?
The fence is to keep our dogs in and our grandkids in, and to offer symmetry for our property, because we have a fence on the east side of the property. Number two, and it's a 4-foot fence. The concern that we have, and it's not a concern, it's a 6-foot by 8-foot panel that we'll put closest to the house. That's what I need the variance for. We're gonna go then to actually to a gate at that point. We changed from a transition to a gate. It's at 4 feet and everything else is at 4 feet. So that's on the west side of the house. And it would be between our line and the Healy line.
Okay, now you said one, the drawing I have looks like there's 2 panels.
Yes, the second panel is going north, and that will now be a 4-foot gate. So it's only going to be 1 panel.
One 6x8 panel.
That's correct.
All right, and the fence, I'm looking at your style of picket fence. It's consistent with what's on the other side of your property and pretty much all over that neighborhood.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, it's gonna come right off the house, so, you know, at least the first panel,
So there's only gonna be one 8-foot panel.
one 8-foot panel. Yeah. Okay, at this point, we'll open it to a public discussion. If there's anybody, nobody here, anybody on Zoom that has a comment about Leo's fence application? Is actually a variance because it's over 4 feet for 1 panel.
And that's all we're approving.
Pardon me?
We're only approving the one.
Yeah,
panel.
because we're allowed to have a 4-foot fence without a variance. Okay. All right, no public comment, so we'll close it for public comment and discuss it amongst ourselves. I went down and looked at it. I don't really have too many concerns. It's kind of consistent with the neighborhood and they are on top of each other down there.
Sure are.
So everybody else has pretty much got some kind of a fence. Steve, you got any concerns?
No,
No?
not worth it. It's
Mark?
Nope.
Okay. All right, I guess at this point we'll take a motion then.
Move to accept the presented. Okay.
Okay, everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. You're all set. Leo, talk to Kevin.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, thank you for holding on tonight.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's the all the new proposals or new variances or special permits for today. We do have minutes. We have 3 people. If all 3 of us were here, we can still approve
I can't
these.
do last meeting, I can do the 26th.
Okay, you can do
Make that 3
the
of us.
26th. Let's see, the 26th, Lynn, Steve, Mark, and I. Okay, the 26th was the area variance for Terry Vanderwall to redo the front of his house. The area variance for Bruce Hargrave, he was gonna put that lean-to shed. Now it's on Bay Street, and there was a variance for Jamie Abel and his live music sign, which we turned down. And I guess that's it. So I have a motion to accept the minutes from 6/26.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, that is approved. The ones from 7/24, Steve wasn't here, so there's only 2 of us. So this one, Linda, we've got to wait on.
Okay.
Okay. We have a few more people here. Kevin, old business, new business?
Just the Leon application that'll be up on the next one. Trying to think what else. I think there's a few things coming up. I have a stack over next door. But it's gonna have to wait because the planning board has Monday already filled up. And then no, you have a meeting on the 28th. Okay, never mind. You do have a meeting on the 28th. But their next meeting, the 4th, is a holiday, so you'll have probably a week off the 11th, you'll probably have a week off. There'll be some interim. So
Okay. Any old business you want to talk about?
me or them? I don't have anything, no.
Okay. Mark, you got something?
Kathy, this is for you. Two hands, Kathy. There you go. Okay, so when we were driving around trying to find these properties this weekend, again, we still don't have signs.
Yeah,
So,
we lettering
I put-
lounge is
I put
promised.
together I sent a proposal to Wayoga Printing. The
Okay.
sign would say, this property has submitted an application to the Village of Sodas Point Planning or Zoning Board. For more information, please go to Sodas Point Info. Front and back sign, just like our political sign, stand up in the rain, 18 by 24, full color, two-sided, with 8 stands, 25 of them, for a total of $387.31. Can be delivered in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Boom.
Give it to Melanie or Tracy tomorrow. We can do it.
That took me 10 minutes.
Yeah,
We
idea.
Yeah. If there's gonna be rigmarole with the village, Kevin, and I'm not moaning, I almost said the B word, moaning too much, I'll go ahead and pay for it, and then I can get reimbursed. Because
No, just put it, come in and talk to Tracy and go through, just zoning and planning. We have budget that we don't usually use, so just talk to her about the budget. And, you know, it's already been approved. The mayor's okayed it. I think both chairpersons have said they wanted it. So just make sure it goes through her and then she can place the order.
okay, I will do that, and you know that will happen tomorrow.
Kevin, the other thing that, we've talked about in the past, especially with like these pole barns and some of these things. If we can get them marked, you know, simply marked with a rod or a stick in the ground. I walked around Sodas Marine today looking for a paint mark that wasn't there.
Okay.
I don't know, it just would make things a lot easier if we could see, you know, where physically where it's gonna be. The same was really at Bud Bristol's property. You know, we don't know where the property line starts and stops. I mean, is he mowing part of the village land? You know, you don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So any of those, it would really make it easier on us if you could clarify, have them clarify where it's going.
Okay.
I don't know if you add that to your paperwork when they fill out the permit or ask for a variance, but would help.
And just ask who's gonna be responsible to pick these up and down.
I think that's gonna be Kevin, right?
Whenever they do it, yeah, what we could make a process for it. If I have, it'd probably be me. The person who does it in the other municipalities, the person actually puts the signs down. It's a paid service, but it was too expensive at the time when we applied for him to do it. So I'll have to see if it's something I can do or what we're capable of. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we only have 5 going at any one time, so the most we'd have out is 10.
On average, like right now, I think we have 14 things being reviewed right now total.
That's all right, we can handle it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll have complaints, we have too many signs.
No, I don't know about that.
All right, anything else, anybody?
I think the next time you revise the application, Kevin, I hate to be putting all this work on you, but I think you can put on it that there will be a sign placed on their property.
Okay.
And that the zoning and planning board folks may walk on their property. Just let them know.
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
thanks, Kevin. Motion to adjourn.
Have a good night, guys.
All right.
thanks.
Thanks for doing this, Mark. Great idea.
All right. See if we can shut this off. Uh-oh.